welcome, family, to another episode of Wake Up Africa on our main channel. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. Thank you so much for joining us here. Be sure to subscribe. We're looking more at Kenyan politics, East African politics, and the story of the Bantu. That's what this main channel is going to be dedicated to. And I've gotten so many, my inbox was flooded. Looks like you guys are starting to connect the dots, especially after the recent show that I did talking about how the Queen was coronated in Kenya and the connection between Kenya and the divided kingdom. There's so much I could say about this family. I will be doing another show about the dragon spirits and the dragon nations, and why Kenya is also a dragon nation, just like the divided kingdom. But that's something I'll definitely cover in a future episode. But, you know, recently on Diwali, the biggest Indian festival, Rishi Sunak, an Indian born in East, now we're even claiming the Indians. That's why Kenyans were awesome. Born in Kenya, of Kenyan descent, a British Indian of Kenyan descent, has risen to one of the highest offices in the divided kingdom. He became prime minister, becoming the youngest in over 200 years and the first foreigner. And it's very, very significant. He is the third. Is it the second or the third prime minister that the divided kingdom has had in 7 weeks? Sorry, a lot going on, family. And if you look, please check my other channel, Dr. Mumbi Spiritual Show, where I went in depth spiritually about what was going on between him and Liz Truss and that whole thing. Remember, the world is a theater and it's all about spiritual energy. We're on spiritual time now, and they'll never let you know that. They'll try and keep you on this physical time while they're making all the moves on the spiritual time, because there are certain energies, let me put it like that are bombarding the planet. And so they try and always create a resonance. And right now we're in the season of the Asian nations, and we're in the season of, you know, Africa. I like to say we're in the season of the rising, of the resurrection of the Bantu nation. But this just confirms to you, if you're Kenyan, you should already start seeing the connection. Of course, Rishi's father was born and raised in pre-colonial Kenya, and his mother was Tanzanian, or was raised in Tanzania. And, you know, so a lot of Kenyans, it was trending on Kenya. Some Kenyans saying, yo, we gave you Obama, now we're giving you freaking Rishi. I love it. Others saying, you know, this is the first time we are seeing someone rise to his position. He is an African, Indian, British. His roots are from Kenya. People here, not only the Indian community, are over the moon. We are so happy. And then, you know, so there's all these comments that were coming in about, you know, race can never impede someone from their goal, and God will always be the equalizer. He's not white. Not that it matters, but it shows how we have changed as humans. And, you know, family, there's something so much deeper going on. There's something so much deeper going on. You see, a lot of people in Kenya don't know that I keep telling you guys, the Wakanda nation is here in Mount Zion. Mount Zion is here. The Ark of the Covenant is here. The gateway to the inner earth is here. Many won't even know what I'm talking about there. And back in the day, family, before a pharaoh would take his position, he used to come to the seers and prophets and mystics of Mount Zion. They would travel to the mountain and go through an initiation like what you saw in the first Wakanda. And so Kenya is a very mystical place, family. Extremely mystical. We don't even know ourselves. And it's like now they had to reconnect, because they tried to hire Mzungu. And what happened is, like, you know, when Liz went to see Elizabeth before she passed on, something was given to Liz to help her, you know, hoping that the feminine energy would come back. But it's not about that. They had to come back. What are the odds, family? What are the odds? And this is a way of them, you see, because we have to look at this thing spiritually. For so long, the divided kingdom has been surviving on the energy of Kenya. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. There's a certain force field here. There's a certain energy, spiritual energy around Mount Zion. And it's not even the people on the outside who are totally lost to themselves and everything. But it's about the nations of Agartha, of Inner Earth family, that we are connected to, that keep the vibration of a place like Kenya high. And it's the whole of East Africa. Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. Look at the East Africa community. That is southern Ethiopia. I've shown you guys so many times. Now that Congo even joined, I think Somalia wants to join. But they had to reconnect by somehow. They had to reconnect back to East Africa. And there's so much that our people don't know about this land. Why Kenya is the key to the British Empire family. And the divided states, the whole reptilian movement. And if you're able to understand and understand that key, because sometimes I see the comments, they're too low level, man. There's some Kenyans who are just too, we're still talking Jesus and stuff. Like, many have missed the boat already, like seriously. Many just don't get it. They're just not high enough vibrationally. I even feel sorry for them. But we can't be arguing with them. So even us, because you see, everything is about group consciousness. If our group consciousness had been growing over the 5 years we were doing this show, we should be teaching people how to fly by now. We should be teaching people how to astral travel by now. We should be changing world events spiritually by now. But we stay on the low levels because, you know, you are as powerful as the least among you. Which is why you'll see the highest usually have to separate themselves to get anywhere. And please check about the Asian Empire and the Indian Empire and why it's rising right now. It's because they kept their temples, they kept their gods, they kept their spiritual identity, they kept their language. But there is such an important energy in Kenya, family, that the divided kingdom became unstable when Elizabeth died and that connection was cut. That they now had to elect a foreigner, but they couldn't make it a black man. An Indian who happened to have Kenyan roots. Nothing is by accident, family. Nothing is by accident. They didn't want him because Indians, first and foremost, are for themselves, just like we as a Bantu nation, but they're subtle about it. They've always made it about their culture, and I think us as Africans, we can study that. So many of our people thought if we accept what the Mzungu says, it will be easier for us. We'll gain this, we'll gain that, we'll be accepted by them. But Kenya is not just anywhere, family, and you'd better start awakening to where you are if you're in this country. You better start awakening to where you are. And if you're Kenyan, you'd better start awakening to the blood you carry and who you are. And it's not everybody. But just that you're in this vortex, in this special energy center means something. There's only a few places that have the energy of Kenya around the world. The energy of Kenya, Kenya, can be compared to, is higher than the energy that we find in Hollywood, which has created like a global empire, influencing the global minds. It's the same energy like of Switzerland. Many powerful beings are here, but there's a powerful nation here that they're trying to get to psychically, that have separated themselves from us because we're too low. And let me not say we, because I'm not part of that story. The only thing that keeps me here is talking to you guys. But the minute this is done, I enter my priesthood. Because then I won't be coming and bringing these vibrations back to the high priests and priestesses that are already doing their thing. And so this is not even more to wake you up or to, it's just to make you aware that there's much deeper things going on in here in Kenya than many of you are aware of. It's not my position to influence you. It's not my position to tell you, but just as a heads up. Because there's some things that will be unfolding that if you are not a vibrational match for, you literally will not survive. That's why I always say the season for debates is over. I'm just an emissary. You can take my word, you cannot. But I want you to know that Kenya is a very special place. Already you can see the signature that we have, we have anointed or kings of the world have come from this place. It's not by accident. It didn't start now. The Ark of the Covenant is here. They even told you. I don't know if you remember, there was a time when was it Israel? They built 4 Arks of the Covenant that went all over the world. Fake ones, of course. And the biggest one was brought to Kenya. What do you think that meant symbolically? And was received by Uhuru, their brotherhood. What do you think they were trying to do with that? So Kenyans, wake up to who you are, because there is absolutely nothing stopping you. And you can do it individually, but if we come together spiritually, let's leave the politics to them. Let's leave all that stuff, and let's get back our spiritual foundation. As I told you, I've built a shrine by Mount Zion. It has changed my life. But what if we came together as a people and started to revisit some of these things? The sacred temples of our ancestors, they weren't buildings. Most of them were trees and nature. Mother trees. I won't even get too deep into that. But awaken to who you are before it's too late. Because others come here and they steal your inheritance. It's like I met this famous artist from the Divided States. I can't even remember his name right now. And he told me how, he was selling paintings for millions of $1 million, $3 million. He lived in a beautiful place outside of Nairobi called Kitengela. Beautiful. And he talked about how he was so shocked because he got his best inspiration here. But whenever he came to Kenya, the only people he saw prospering from the energy here, from the vibration, from the vortex, were foreigners. But Kenyans somehow seemed trapped and unable to tap into that energy. That's where we need to start debating. Kenya will not change because of a politician. It's not going to change because of any money coming here. The change has to be spiritual first. And let me tell you, those on the other side are starting to recognize that, you know what, if we trying to take everybody is not going to work. And that's the most heartbreaking thing right now, is that so many people will be left behind unless they awaken. And we will be assisting in that awakening. We have a small window, family. A very small window of a few months, maybe a year. When we will try and awaken as many as we can, and we urge you, if you're awakened, and now it's more on an individual level, family, try. But don't waste too much energy, because we won't be able to exist in both worlds anymore. Where you're trying to awaken the people, so you have to go down here and mix with Babylon's technology and all these low vibes. And yet there's other worlds waiting for you. There's magic and wonder and signs and best life possibilities all the way up here. But you can't keep dropping. As soon it's that door's gonna be closed. This is for those who understand and understand what I'm saying. Not everyone will get it, and that's okay. But dear Kenyans, try and figure out what makes this place so special. Try even to put your Jesus aside and pray to the Most High, the God of Mount Zion. Just turn to the mountain and put your petitions forward. Remember, our gods don't like, or our God, the Most High Creator, doesn't like begging. Please give me this, please. No, that's not going to work. You give gratitude and honor because that creative power has been put inside of you. Tuko pamoja.